Balance. .7 KUFM News. Concise, precise, balanced, unbiased.
We are live from Benin City to the world.
This is 92.7 KUFM Newsbreak.
Time check 11:30 a.m. Good morning and welcome to KUFM Newsbreak. First, the headlines. JAMB to prosecute violators of admission process. Uniben chapters of SANU and NASU join 3-day national protest. In today's Extra Voices takes a look at how 2020 experience has shaped the culture of goal setting and New Year resolutions. On entertainment, Fireboy DML 9 other Nigerians to receive grants from YouTube.
And in sports, Nigeria's Golden Eaglets qualify for Under-17 Waffle B Cup semi-final.
Details of these and more after this break. I am Omoye Ogbeide. The Joint Admissions and Matriculations Board, JAMB, said it will work with security agencies to prosecute any institution or candidates found breaching its admission code of operations. The board announced this in its latest weekly bulletin in Abuja. It stressed that henceforth, strict measures, including prosecution, would be taken against erring candidates or institution once a clear case has been established against them. The decision, the board explained, is part of its resolution after the management meeting on the imperative of ridding the admissions process of unwholesome practices. JAMB Registrar Professor Isha Koyelade, who was quoted as saying that the measures were being put in place to stop admission violations. The registrar noted that although the central admissions process system had made the admission process transparent, fair and equitable, some stakeholders were working hard to bypass the system. And the Joint Action Committee of the Non-Academic Staff Union, NASU, and the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, has commenced a 3-day national protests. The protests followed an earlier statement by the NASU General Secretary Peter Sadeyemi and the SANU President Mohammed Ibrahim, calling on all members in branches of universities and inter-university centers across the nation to embark on industrial action. The members are protesting over irregularities in integrated payroll personnel information system payments, non-payment of earned allowances, non-payment of arrears in minimum wage, amongst others. Chinedu Ekeja has more from the University of Benin chapter of the protests.
In 2009, the federal government, members of the Academic Staff Union of the Universities, NASU, and Senior Staff Association of Universities, SANU, reached an agreement. Part of the deal were the payment of over 20 billion naira in earned allowances, proper funding of universities, among others. Led by the chairman, Joint Action Committee, JAC of SANU and NASU, University of Benin chapter, Comrade Bodrick Osewa, and NASU chairman Uniben, Comrade Anthony Binosa. The unions are asking the federal government to honor the agreement.
The payment of our minimum wage arrears is key. The federal government promised December. We are in January again. Then our end allowance, the money owed us since 2012 to date. We are even saying we are not asking for all. We are asking for 30 billion. If you can't pay all now, well, give us 30 billion as part of the money you are owing us, so that our people can also live.
Then the usurpation of headship of non-teaching units by academic staff taking over non-teaching staff positions. It's one of the issues.
The unions are also complaining that the Integrated Payroll and Personnel Information System, IPIS, has not proven to be a fairly transparent payment platform since its introduction by the federal government. They said it has rather become a thorn on their flesh.
Since we joined IPIS, there have been irregularities. Some of our members, since we joined in February, have not received their salaries. They've collected our dues and third-party deductions. 8 months, 9 months, they've not remitted. That's criminal. And that's why we told federal government, we no more accept IPs. We have our own system that we want them to say. We used to use JIPMIS, but they said this one is better. But what we are seeing now is something different. We are now being held hostage. They will collect our money, they will remit our money.
But beyond their personal demands, they are also asking the federal government to show more concern about the university system in Nigeria.
Then we have the issue of renegotiation of 2009 agreement. We also have the demand for the federal government to quickly constitute the visitation panels to all universities. Then we are also saying the federal government should properly fund federal universities. State universities too can also key in.
The 3 days protest is expected to elapse on Thursday, after which the national body will communicate to state chapters the next line of action. Chinedu Ekeja, KUFM News.
And coming up in a moment after the break, NANS set up COVID-19 task force ahead of school reopening. Details of this in a moment.
At split seconds, there's a lot happening around us, but we can't be everywhere all the time. We've got work, families, and chores to cater to, and most importantly, time to rest. And that's why having reliable partner like KUFM News is important. Sleeping? We don't. We work round the clock, bringing you stories as they break from Nigeria and across the world. We would stop at nothing to keep you informed, because KUFM News is all about you and stories that affect you. Politics, business, human interests, sports, entertainment, just name it. We've got you covered. KUFM News. Timely, precise, spot on.
Welcome back. Still in the news, the National Association of Nigerian Students has urged the federal government and members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities to resume academic activities at the nation's public universities. The student body also ordered its chapters in all tertiary institutions to set up COVID-19 task force teams to ensure all guidelines outlined by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 and ensure safe reopening of schools. NANS President Sunday Asefon said this in a statement on Tuesday. ASU on December 24, 2020, conditionally suspended its 9-month-long strike. The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 subsequently ordered schools to remain closed till January 18, 2021 to contain the increase in COVID-19 infections in the country. The National Universities Commission later asked universities to comply with the directive, but the PTF on Monday said the January 18 date is subject to review. Reacting to its statement, NANS said rather than postpone school's resumption, it has become imperative to address the alarming spread of COVID-19 and rising cases of deaths from the position of environmental strategy and human coordination, since the lockdown mechanism can no longer be a mitigating option in the face of the country's economic reality. And civilization around the world has been celebrating the start of the year for ages with goal setting and new resolutions. But how the 2020 experience shaped this age-long practice? Stay here. Extra Voices comes with an answer in a moment.
In the ever-revolving world of news, one story becomes extinct the moment another major story breaks.
Market women don't know whether they pay anything.
But with KUFM's Extra Voices, the story never dies. It just takes on a new life.
Market
there is no water in the house. The toilet is not good.
We don't have any fashion in APC.
We bring you new angles and fresh perspectives to every story, no matter how old or remote.
There are a lot of educated people that are involved in politics nowadays.
We go a little beyond the surface to get you those extra details ignored in the rush for the news.
Now bridge, now we take the entire now.
Some don't die for inside.
We go beyond beyond the lines to bring extra voices, not just for those making the stories.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
But for those affected by the stories.
I've lost 1 bag of rice, documents.
So it's a real disaster.
With extra voices, we add new flavor to give fresh perspective and taste to an old story. Extra Voices airs every Wednesday and weekends on KUFM's major news bulletins.
The anticipations and hopes that come with the new year are very inspiring, that most people go on to set goals, make new resolutions. Like the beginning of every year, 2020 came with such high hopes for many Nigerians. However, many of those hopes, dreams and aspirations never saw the light of day due to the disruption caused by the COVID-19 pandemic and other unpleasant events. Now 2021 is here. What lesson did 2020 leave behind, and how has it shaped people's perceptions about setting goals and making New Year resolutions? Well, that's KUFM's Extra Voices first poser for 2021.
2020 remained like a dream to many people who kept on hoping that they will wake up to realities, hopes, dreams, and targets which they had set at the beginning of the year. However, it remained a wish as the year fizzled out in the most surprising way, leaving many helpless and hopeless. The coronavirus pandemic, the EndSARS protest, school closure, the sudden rise in exchange rate, and of course, double-digit inflation were all few of the experiences that left a sour taste behind.
Last year, 2020, there were resolutions and decisions, but not all came forth.
I had the resolutions for 2020, but I don't think I could do anything when it comes to the EndSARS, the pandemic and everything.
To be candid, I didn't achieve my goals for last year, not because of financial issues, but due to COVID-19 palaver. And to be honest, I'm yet to even recover from it.
I just started my business last year, so I think the major goal for me was to push it, make it more visible to people, so I've been able to get clients. COVID came along and it kind of messed up everything.
But while many continued to pick the pieces from the 2020 experience, others like Oyeyemi Agosu, Damilola Akinpelu have good tales to share of how the 2020 frustration was a blessing in disguise for them.
In the beginning of 2020, I set up a goal to save up to get another accommodation, and with all the crisis going on with the COVID and everything, with EndSARS, I was able to achieve that goal and get a bigger and better place.
In 2020, I was due for a 6-month course. My goal was to earn a good grade and possibly get an award at the end of the course in December. I finished well. I achieved my goal.
Last year, I actually set some goals. Thank God, I was able to achieve some of my goals despite COVID-19 disruptions.
For 2020, the only resolution I took was to become a better version of myself. And I'm happy that it came to reality.
Last year, 2020, I set several goals. Part of it was opening my business. I was able to achieve tiny little things, even if we had restrictions due to the old COVID and EndSARS.
I did set a goal and I achieved that goal. Even with the COVID and the EndSARS, I was able to maintain it and achieve it.
With the experience of 2020 and over the years, do people still perceive the New Year resolutions as a good practice or an old school fantasy?
I've learned over the years not to make resolutions. I instead prefer to take each day as it comes. Celebrate the small wins as well as the big wins. I found out that it helps reduce pressure to achieve goals, stick to resolutions.
You always set goals every January of every year. As far as you are a matured person, I did.
For some of us who actually did not have this mindset of doing New Year resolutions, we just have targets that we keep aiming to achieve year in, year out. For me, no New Year resolution.
But notwithstanding the shortcomings of 2020, many are still hopeful that the year 2021 holds plenty of prospects than the previous years.
When it comes to 2021, if 2020 had taught us anything, is that every year is not a given. We don't know what will happen. So let's just say I've carried all my New Year resolution of 2020 to 2021. I'm hoping for the best because this is a year of new beginnings.
There are some goals that I was planning to achieve last year, so I've already carried them over for this year. So let's see how it goes.
We'll look forward to 2021 that things will work out perfectly.
Though the coronavirus pandemic that blighted the hopes of 2020 is back again with a second wave, there is perhaps light at the end of the tunnel with the announcement of a new vaccine. But remember, that is never an excuse to throw caution to the wind. For KUFM's Extra Voices, Blessing Asekume.
Excellent news. Breaking KU 92.7 FM Benin City in some entertainment stories this morning. YouTube on Tuesday announced that Fireboy, DML, and 9 other Nigerian creators were among the 23 YouTubers from Africa selected to receive grants for the development of their channels. An official associated with the fund said the grants are from the Global YouTube Black Voices Fund. Managing Director, Emerging Markets, YouTube EMEA, Alex Akosi, disclosed this in a statement in Lagos, said 23 creators made up YouTube's inaugural class of Africa content creators and part of the 132 creators across the globe participating in the YouTube class of 2021. Alex Akosi said in addition to the grant earmarked for content development, the 23 YouTubers from Nigeria, South Africa, and Kenya would also take part in an intensive 3-week incubator program to be followed by modified training, workshops, and networking programs. He noted that African creators in YouTube were already reshaping the power of the platform by providing a unique perspective on all kinds of topics ranging from fashion and comedy to politics, learning, and wellness. And that's it from entertainment. And in sports, Nigerians Golden Eaglet qualified for Under-17 Wafu B Cup semi-final. Egosa Agbekan has more right after this break.
Admission, admission, admission. Franej Montessori Academy, a renowned institution for qualitative and functional education, is right at your doorstep. Admission is currently going on into crèche, pre-nursery, nursery, and primary section. Come now and register that precious child of yours at Franej Montessori Academy, a serene and conducive environment for learning at 5 Obasoye Street, off Liberty Street, between Ihama and Boundary Road, close to Micon Institute and Randeki Hotel, GRA, Benin City. This is an opportunity to be part of this awesome family. At Franej, learning is always fun. For further information, call 081-795-49122, 080-657-10725, or call 080-603-35828. Choose Franej. Choose qualitative education. Franej, a center of excellence.
Good morning. The Golden Eagles of Nigeria on Tuesday qualified for the semi-finals of the Wafu B Under-17 tournament after Côte d'Ivoire defeated Ghana 3-1 in their final Group B match at the Stade Municipal Lomé, Togo on Tuesday. The Ivorians took the lead against the Ghanaians in the 9th minute through Arafat Doumbia, who then hit his second in the 49th minute to give his side a 2-0 lead. Ghana reduced the deficit 3 minutes later, but they were dealt a huge blow after Doumbia scored his hat-trick from the penalty spot in the 68th minute to put Ivory Coast 3-1 ahead and send the Black Stars crashing out. Ghana's loss meant they finished bottom of the group with 1 point, same as Nigeria, but with inferior goal difference, while Côte d'Ivoire topped the group with maximum 6 points from 2 games in a pool that had only 3 countries. Nigeria, who are 5-time world champions, will play Group A winners Burkina Faso in the semi-finals on Friday, with the Ivorians taking on Niger for the other spot in the final. The Eagles lost 1-0 to Ivory Coast in their opening group game on January 6th before a 1-0 draw with Ghana on Saturday. Winners of the semi-finals will aside qualifying for the final on January 20th also qualify for the Under-17 AFCON in Morocco from March 13th to 31st. And finally, France midfielder Paul Pogba has urged league leaders Manchester United to keep calm for the big moment when his side faced champions Liverpool at Anfield on Sunday. The Red Devils are top of the Premier League table after the turn of the year for the first time since they last won the title in 2013 and could move 6 points clear with victory at Liverpool. Pogba's deflected volley in the second half gave Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's side 3 points over Burnley on Tuesday night. Manchester United are now unbeaten in 15 Premier League away fixtures, winning 12 of them with their last defeat on the road, coming at Anfield 1 year ago. They were down in 15th place at the start of November when Arsenal won at Old Trafford. Since then, 9 wins and 2 draws have pushed the former perennial winners back to the top. And that's it from sports. My name is Ewosa Agbeka. And back to you, Omoye.
And that's the news, but before we go, a quick recap of the headlines. JAMB to prosecute violators of admission process. Uniben chapters of SANU and NASU join 3-day national protests. And today's Extra Voices takes a look at how 2020 experience has shaped the culture of goal setting and New Year resolutions. Do remember that the continued unity of Nigeria is a collective responsibility. Be sure to play your part. Do not forget you can listen to us anywhere in the world by visiting our website at www.kufm.net or download our mobile app from the Google Play Store. We are also live on YouTube at KUFM Nigeria, and you can also listen to us on radiogarden.com. KUFM's news break was produced by Lebadum Asagwaram. I am Omoye Ogbaide saying thanks for listening. Good morning.
More music, more variety. Turn it up. 92.7.
Hey, girl. Hey, girl. Why this make you feel like though? Why this make you feel like though? Why this make you feel like though? Girl, come wine till you broke off your back, broke off your back. Broke off your back. If you broke off your back, broke off your back. Broke off your back. Girl, you know you got the glue, know you got the glue, know you got the glue. Come broke off your back, broke off your back. Broke off your back, girl. Who you are ramp with? On a game. Anytime you're ready, girl. So me name. The place get wet like in a rain. And I make you feel high like on a plane. She say I saw the love, the hot. Baseline sweet and I touch this spot. Dancing, she love do that. Girl, go to the chat. Come wine till you broke off your back. Broke off your back. Broke off your back. If you broke off your back. Broke off your back. Broke off your back. Girl, you know you got the glue. Know you got the glue. Know you got the glue. Come broke off your back. Broke off your back. Broke off your back, girl. Girl, your body hotter than a suntan. You make me turn up at attention. You pretty like the melodies in a me song. Plus you cooking where your mother give you make your body strong. Girl, any problem you got I woulda fix it. And when you dance to me song it on a big hit. Bop like a drum on a beat. It you tight like a secret. So you feel wine till you broke off your back. Broke off your back. Broke off your back. If you broke off your back. Broke off your back. Broke off your back. Girl, you know you got the glue. Know you got the glue. Know you got the glue.